This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hi, everyone. I am joined today by Angela Ardolino, who is a trailblazer in the holistic pet space. And you might have heard of her. She's an expert in plant and mushroom medicine for animals. She has two brands that you might have heard of her through. One is called CBD Dog, and the other one is called Myco Dog. Angela is the real deal. She's certified in cannabis and fungi, and she's a fungi clinician. She's got over 20 years experience in this space. She's also a graduate of the University of Vermont's Medical Cannabis Program. And as I mentioned, the founder of these two companies. And she also has a podcast. Her podcast is called Your Natural Dog, and you're going to know more about how you can find that at the end of the show. But she's dedicated her work, like many of us, to educating pet parents on how to take the best care of their animals naturally. So I'm really thrilled to announce that she is with the show today, and you're listening to the Pet Health Coach on Pet Life Radio. I am Jody Teich, your host. We are going to take a short break from our sponsor. They keep the lights on. But when we get back, I'll introduce you to Angela, and we're going to unpack what these medicinals actually do in the body and what kind of problems they can solve for your pet. So grab that beverage, get comfortable, and we'll be right back.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms. And our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Pet Health Coach on Pet Life Radio, and I'm Jody Teich, your host. And we're going to introduce Angela Ardolino today, an expert in plant and mushroom medicine for animals. Angela, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's so
It's
nice
my
to finally be
pleasure.
on with you. I know.
Same. I feel the same way. I know it was a long intro, but I want people to know who they're listening to. And I'm very excited because we're two geeks in this space to break it down together and help pet parents understand what's going on in their pets' bodies when it comes to these medicinals. So I'm going to dive right in. Okay. So you and I discussed this very briefly, the endocannabinoid system, which, listeners, you may have been hearing more and more about this over the past couple of years and how CBD interacts with the body and the brain. It's now often being referred to as the endocannabinoid dome. Why? Because of its connection to the gut microbiome, which I talk about ad nauseum, and the presence of these receptors throughout the body. Can you break this down for listeners, what this really means and how we can understand it as it relates to our pets' health today?
You bet. I think the most fascinating thing for people to understand is that the endocannabinoid system's two main receptors are the CB1 and CB2 receptors. And the CB2 receptor was discovered in the lining of a dog's gut. So we've known about this for a really long time, but they kind of okay, we discovered it there, but oh, look, these receptors are all over the body, all over our organs. What is this master system that we find everywhere? And it is the master system of our bodies. It is responsible for every other system in our body operating at fully function and keeping us at homeostasis. And this master system isn't taught to our doctors and veterinarians. So they know nothing about it. And the system is named after the cannabis plant because its receptors interact directly with the compounds in the marijuana plant or in the cannabis plant, but we make them in our body. We make endocannabinoids. And these endocannabinoids are responsible for keeping us calm, happy, pain-free, not, at homeostasis.
Yeah.
When our body, for whatever reason, stops producing enough endocannabinoids, and some people can be literally born, including pets, with an endocannabinoid deficiency because you get a lot of your endocannabinoids from your mother's breast milk. So if you weren't breastfed, you could literally be born and as a baby and have an endocannabinoid deficiency. So when you have this deficiency, that's when pain starts to happen. We get anxiety, allergies, inflammation, all of those things. All the other systems aren't operating at their peak. So when we don't make enough endocannabinoids, there happens to be this beautiful plant called the cannabis plant that produces phytocannabinoids. And when we take them, they literally fill those deficiencies and help bring us back to homeostasis. So that's why it seems like it works on everything, because we're interacting with this master system. And I want to say, not too long ago, maybe 10 years ago now, they changed the name from the endocannabinoid system to the endocannabinoidome to incorporate the gut microbiome because there's receptors all over it. All of these receptors belong to the endocannabinoid system. So, as you know, and you preach all the time about how our immune system lives in our gut and how we need to be feeding our gut and taking care of our gut. This is one of the best ways of doing this is by feeding it a pure product. So I don't know if you know the difference between marijuana and hemp, but they're all the cannabis plant. So if that cannabis plant happens to have more THC, it has less CBD and is considered marijuana. And if that plant has more CBD, it therefore has less THC and is considered hemp. Hemp is what is great for our pets, especially our dogs, because we've already have research that shows that our dogs have a lot more receptors than we do. So they're much more sensitive, but that's a good thing. That means we don't have to use as much to get a really positive result.
That is so interesting, Angela. I didn't know that some people and animals are born endocannabinoid deficient and that it's directly linked to the breast milk of the mother. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so when you get them, it's kind of like the gut microbiome. If you're not born vaginally, you're not going to get some of those very important microbes, that help you stay healthy. It's the same thing. I find, and I know you're going to agree with me when I say this, I find anytime we try to manipulate nature or get away with, not doing the way nature is supposed to happen, is we're going to have a side effect. There's going to be an issue. Don't mess with it. She's the creator. She created it. Who do we think we are going to try to replicate it in the lab?
Yeah. And the body is so genius, right?
It knows.
It knows. It absolutely knows. And it is designed to heal when we get out of its own way, our own way.
Yep.
And when we address whatever is going on with us or our pets holistically, because we're not body parts and neither are they. It's all connected. And I know that you agree with that.
And we shouldn't just be stopping symptoms. We should be getting to the root cause.
That's exactly right, because it always is a lack of homeostasis, an imbalance in the body. And this is how I was trained in homeopathy. Same thing. It's energy medicine. It is an imbalance in the system that creates symptoms. The body it's a red light on the dashboard. The body is showing you there's an imbalance, and it's going to the root cause and triggering, stimulating, working with the body to rebalance that imbalance in whatever way makes sense. So, yeah, and it is the most beautiful thing to watch in motion, isn't it?
It's amazing. I remember when I first got into this, I was like, I lost my first dog by treating her conventionally. Literally, just like a lot of people who, do the yearly vaccinations, the flea and tick, feeding the kibble, doing everything convention, their dog's going to start having problems probably between age 7 and 9, if they're a healthy dog to start with, right? And I did everything they told me to do and lost her at 7. So, I know this way too well, but our vets aren't taught about this system. They're not taught about the gut microbiome. They're not taught about diet and nutrition. So when you, like I did, bring your dog in for diarrhea or throwing up, they're going to follow a standard of care.
They throw you some metronidazole and some Serenia.
Turn off the immune system and destroy the gut microbiome. And how do we ever expect that animal to get better? So this is literally why I do what I do. And then learning that, oh my gosh, all pharmaceutical drugs come from a food or a plant or a mushroom.
Yes.
And they're remaking them in a lab, synthetic. And they always have a side effect because the body no longer recognizes what they are and can't put them to work. So sure, it might stop an action, it will stop the itch, it'll stop the pain, but it's doing all this damage in the meantime and never getting to the root cause of what the problem is.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And it's stopping it via suppression. So like a pressure cooker on a stove with the vegetables or whatever bubbling inside, as soon as you shut that valve on that pressure cooker, that's what you're doing with the steroids. The body needs to find another outlet. So either something deeper in the body will develop. And this is how over years and years of suppression, you get things like cancer, you get things like kidney disease, heart disease, or something else will pop up, or it'll return once you stop. So another thing that came up for me when you talked about how all of the pharmaceuticals came from plants or food originally, it was the animals who led way back when the scientists to the plants that they would instinctually go to heal themselves, that started the whole process really way back when. So it started there, right? And it's just the reason why when it's synthetic, it's the same thing with dog food, even raw food that puts vitamins and minerals in synthetically. Those
Drives me crazy.
synthetics, yeah, they're not the same thing. They're mirror images and the body doesn't recognize it in the same way. And it's inflammation.
Yeah, not only does the body not recognize it, your liver and your detox system have to deal with it. So instead of your liver doing what it's supposed to be doing, it's trying to figure out what to do with this concoction of chemicals. And I don't know if you know this or not. I needed to know. I owned a very, very busy, I had a rescue farm where I rescued animals, farm animals and old dogs. And I had a very busy groom shop that I bought in between 2016 and 18 because I couldn't release my products until 2018 when the farm bill went through. So in the meantime, I was case after case. And 85% of the dogs coming through my shop, and I would get on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 100 dogs come through my shop. It was very busy. And I became holistic, all natural, everything, and word spread. And 85% of them were coming in sick, lumps, bumps, missing hair, hot spots, rashes, you name it. And I was like, oh my gosh, what I went through with my Lucy is what the majority of people are going through. And I would start talking to them and they'd go, we tried everything. I've switched the diet. I'm on all these meds. It's never getting better. It's never getting better. But I really wanted to do a deep dive on these lumps and bumps because lumps and bumps to a groomer, they do not like them. So I would have to hear my groomers complain about this old dog and whatever. I'm like, why do they all have lumps and bumps? Because when the liver doesn't know what to do with something, doesn't know to send it out of the body, or it does it, or worse, stores it, like for synthetic copper or these other minerals, which is very dangerous, it stores it in the fatty tissue of our dogs.
Yeah,
so these old
it's
dogs'
the garbage
lumps
bag.
and bumps are like a garbage can. And then what does the vet say to do? To cut them open
Or cut them open and release everything. Yes.
Release 15 years of toxins that the liver has been storing there. And I don't think pet parents understand that. And, they all have insurance. So they just go get the lump cut off, or they take an aspirate of it. And you better hope that's not cancer that they just took an aspirate of, because they just helped it spread.
Yeah.
So this is why you and I are talking about these things constantly. I learned the hard way. I don't want other people to learn the hard way. And all I'm asking is for people to do their homework. I don't care. You take what you and I are saying and go see, do we know what we're talking about? And your vet tells you to take this drug. Go look up that drug. Go make sure you research the side effects. Because you should never give your dog a supplement or a drug if it's a drug without looking at the side effects and seeing what you can do to help prep them. If you have to give them that drug, how can you support the gut? How can you support the liver to deal with this chemical?
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a side effect from it, and you want to help the body deal with it.
Absolutely. For me, and this is my personal opinion, I'm not telling anybody to do this, I use my conventional doctor for me and a conventional vet if I can't get to a holistic vet in person. We don't have a lot of them around where I live for diagnostic purposes.
Exactly. That's what I do too.
Because Western medicine is the best at diagnostics. They got the machines and everything
And
else. Emergency surgery, they're the best at those three things. What they're not the best at is prevention and cure. And once I have diagnostics, then I can look into natural ways to address. And so if pet parents have somebody guiding them who is an expert, whether it's a holistic veterinarian or another person that's an expert, then you can take the diagnostic, you can look at the pharmaceutical and see what naturally can be tried first and see how far you can take it. And it's always because we're living in a toxic soup today. What I find both homeopathically and supplementally and with all medicinals, natural medicinals, it's a layering effect. It's never just one thing.
This is not how nature works.
No, and
Very synergistic.
Years of layers and layers of toxicity that eventually lead to this symptom, that symptom, the other symptom need to be peeled away, like an onion. So it takes patience. Unlike pharmaceuticals, it's not like an anvil over the head of the dog, creating immediate change because it's blocking, suppressing. It takes time for the body to say, oh, wait a minute, you're putting fresh food in? Oh, and then the nutrients go in, and then the body starts being able to use these nutrients when before it didn't have much to use. And then slowly but surely it starts healing the most emergency things first, right? And then goes in from there.
And that's why I love adaptogens.
Yes, adaptogens for us and them are amazing. Talk more about that. I think I'm going to throw my questions away because we don't need them.
I told you that was going to happen.
You did.
I told you, I go, here's a whole bunch of questions for when you come on mine, but I know we're just going to end up talking. Yeah,
yes.
That's why I like focusing on adaptogens, because how magical is it that adaptogens are these groups of plants and roots and sometimes dirt that when we consume them, you and I can consume the same combination of them, but they're going to adapt to what we need, to our stressors, and they work to bring us back to homeostasis. Adaptogens also interact with this endocannabinoid system. Some adaptogens and mushrooms are adaptogens too, but people don't know that. So that's why I say both of them all the time. But mushrooms are adaptogens, these medicinal ones that I'm talking about. I call hemp the queen. Cannabis is the queen of adaptogens because cannabis will even change the energetics of an adaptogen. So if we pair an adaptogen with a turmeric, let's say, which has a warming energy to it, it will literally suppress it so that it does not have a negative effect on the body. So that's why I have my favorite tincture that I don't know if you know this, that I made for myself and for my soul dog and brought myself back to homeostasis after a rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis.
Oh, wow.
So
your tincture has turmeric and CBD.
I put 3 powerhouses together. I put full spectrum hemp extract. And remember, everything I make is I start with the seed and the sourcing. And
you
how
control
it's
the
grown,
whole process.
all the way. How would
I
Mother
love
Nature
that.
do it if she was there making it herself? You know,
I love that.
How do I extract without damaging any of the compounds in that flower that I'm trying to get out and preserve and use as medicine? So I do a full spectrum hemp extract with turmeric extract and frankincense extract. Both turmeric and frankincense contain beta-caryophyllene, which is the anti-inflammatory terpene. And all 3 of the plants contain it. So when you put them together, they become very strong, very synergistic and powerful, and can get rid of some serious pain and inflammation. So I see these joints supplements that are just a bunch of isolates thrown together, or worse, this new drug Librela that has over 17,000 adverse events. It is a horrible drug. And people are coming in. I've done lots of episodes. I've talked to the attorney that's leading the class action lawsuit, so I know a lot about this. The people that I talked to and interviewed that dogs died from this drug, the vet says, yes, this drug killed the dog. But also the vet recommended it, and they didn't even come in for joint pain. They just said, oh, this is great for old dogs, because that's what the pharmaceutical salesperson sold to them. And they literally say, there's no side effects. So the lawsuit is actually about transparency. And how the heck do you say there's no side effects when dogs are dying?
Yeah. Oh my God.
So
Breaks my heart.
I hate that it takes us losing our dogs to get this angry and speak up, but we need to. This is not right. This is not okay. Our dogs should be living to 20 at least. And the reason they're not is because they're bombarded by these vaccinations, flea and tick, these pharmaceuticals, the antibiotics. They're destroying what we know is keeping them healthy and alive and happy.
Yes, people do need to know. And Librela is something that you avoid like the plague. It is too dangerous.
Same with Apoquel and Cytopoint.
Apoquel and Cytopoint as well. Absolutely.
If you knew what I knew, this is why all I do is talk about it. Because now that I know how drugs are manufactured, how supplements are manufactured, and how nobody is looking out for our pets. Nobody is making sure they're safe. We think that someone is, but they are not. And the person in the white coat, a lot of times, is just listening to what the salesperson told them. They're not even looking into the drug.
It's heartbreaking. You know, the first couple of questions that I ask pet parents when I'm talking with them about working together is what and when revaccinations, because some of those vaccinations, especially paired together or given too closely together, affect the brain and the whole neurological system in a very profound way. So you have young dogs who can start having epileptic seizures and things like that. So it's vaccinations. It is antibiotics. I want to know, do we have another thing that we have to deal with the gut microbiome? Because all the gut microbiomes are out of whack for the most part. So we always have to have that piece. But there are definite, early pieces of information that I want to know so that I can see how we can proceed. Yeah.
The reason I love that you're saying that, so I used to do consultations, and when I first started, because I could not believe how every case was the same thing. And I did the same thing, but the other way around. So I would get all of their records, and I would find, and then I would say, when do you think the problem started? And we could find, well, that's when you gave them the vaccination. Or that's when you gave them the whatever. And we could be 3 years back.
Yeah.
But what did you do to rebuild the gut and get yourself back to homeostasis? Because we're still dealing with that problem, that surgery or that incident from 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely. Yes. So let's see now. What have we covered here already? We've covered pain. I get so many people. I used to work in a wellness center where people would come in all the time for themselves as well as for their animals and ask about adaptogens. A lot of people don't know what adaptogens are. And you went into it saying that it helps the body, that individual dog, person, adapt to the stressors, the incoming stressors, how the body is responding to stress. So the way the adaptogens respond in every person or every animal is going to be different based on the needs of that individual, right? So that is a really important thing.
You can't hurt anything with adaptogens. Like, that's what I love. That it's like the safest thing ever. And the reason that you're not hearing about them, and you'll never hear about them except from people like us, is because cannabis and adaptogens would get rid of most or all pharmaceutical drugs on the market.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why you're never going to hear from. That's why the stigma of mushrooms even are mushrooms. Well, what are you going to get high, or aren't they poisonous? That's all you know about mushrooms.
Yeah.
Fairies and the red-capped one. You don't know anything about that. Like, I just had this conversation with someone about all the supplemental marketing that says 20 in 1, 10 to 1, all in one. What does that even mean? And it's so funny because I'm like, Vitality is, and we compared to the number one selling supplement on the market is Zesty Paws. A bunch of isolates stuck together in a soft chew. That's the number one selling thing. And it's called an all-in-one or 20-in-1 type of thing.
Yeah.
And you look at it and compare it to my Vitality formula, which is a bunch of mushrooms and adaptogens. And you literally are getting so much more in its natural form altogether. Then I go say this to someone and they're like, I don't understand. How is a mushroom a vitamin and mineral supplement? No, vitamins and minerals are supposed to come from food, plants, and mushrooms, not a pill, not a powder you throw on top of your dog's food. Like, that's how far away we've gotten from what is real, is that people think that a multivitamin and mineral thing is what they're supposed to give their dog, which that's how we were brought up, right? I was under the impression that I'm not watching my diet, so I'm probably not getting all the vitamins and minerals I need, so I just pop this pill. And that's literally the same message we tell our dogs, except as we discussed earlier, if you want to be an AAFCO balanced, nutritionally balanced meal and get that designation, you have to throw on a packet of synthetic vitamins and minerals. You've just destroyed that food. And then pet parents come along and what do? They throw another powder or pill on top of that food, which is another combo of synthetic vitamins and minerals. And they don't make it easy to tell which ones are real and which ones are not. It is very hard.
And like with any industry, there are a lot of products that make claims they can't stand behind truly and have ingredients.
And then I can't make claims that I could stand behind because the FDA won't allow it.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It's like backwards.
Even though
I know.
I just did research. I just did my first piece of clinical research to prove what I already knew, because I created this formula and reversed dementia in so many dogs that I was like, I have to prove this.
Yes, hold that thought, because I want to talk more about your nootropic research, what you found. I'm sure lots of pet parents listening have seen your dogs or want to be prepared, want to start early preventatively as well. So we're going to take a short break from our sponsor. And when we come back, let's talk about that. So refresh that beverage, get cozy, and we'll be right back.
Oh, sure. It's all fun and games until someone ends up in a cone. That's right. We're animals. Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Pet Health Coach on Pet Life Radio, and I'm Jody Teich, your host. We're here with Angela Ardolino, an expert in mushrooms, plant medicine for animals. And Angela, I want to talk with you about something that is really interesting to me personally, but I know so relatable to so many pet parents. It is heartbreaking for some of us as our dogs and cats age, what we see in terms of how compromised they become. Now, you have done a deep dive into what we call nootropics, research around nootropics, which are brain food type science and supplements. And I'd love for you to share what you found and then maybe a couple of tips for pet parents so that they can head things off at the pass or help slow or maybe reverse symptoms.
You bet. I think I was like most people where we thought dementia, and in dogs it's called CCD, cognitive decline. Oh my God, why can't I think of it? Cognitive decline. Canine cognitive decline or dysfunction. It's dementia, Alzheimer's, it's all the same thing. And dogs' brains are a lot like ours. Yeah. And what they suffer from, we suffer from. I thought dementia was you lost your memory, right? What's the big deal? It's not. And not only is it a big deal, but it's like the third leading cause of disease now because it is so broad and people don't recognize the early signs. So I always like to encourage pet parents to know when your dog is going to turn a senior. Because if it's a small, medium, large breed dog, it depends on their size and breed. So you need to know that so that you can be proactive because your dog could be 7 years old and be a senior citizen. So you want to start before, not after. So a lot of people, again, this is one of those things that because I had a dog rescue where I took in mostly senior dogs, and what I would do is take them. I had a lot of relationships with veterinarians that they'd call me up and go, I got a case for you. I think you can help. Or I got a euthanasia client that I'm thinking you could probably, and I would bring them in. I would wean them off all of their pharmaceuticals, get them on a real food diet and bring them back. No matter what they had, whether they were paralyzed, covered in cancer, seizures, every, 5, you name it. I was always able to do it. So you said that earlier. We want to find out what the pharmaceutical is and then what can I find in nature? I want to ask you, every time I did that, I never had to turn back to a pharmaceutical. Never. Never did I have to turn to I even sometimes had pharmaceuticals on hand because I did not trust the science, my education, and now my cases, but not anymore. Now I know better and now I trust because I had thousands and thousands of cases.
Yeah.
But the senior dog study was born and my formulation was born because I had all these senior dogs. And it wasn't until this one case, her name's Miss Daisy, and she had an MCT and lameness in her back end. We cleared both of those up. She was thriving. And all of a sudden, I started witnessing her get up, walk over to her water bowl, just stand there, not drink, go back, do it 4 times in a row and never take a drink. And my partner at the time said, he's still my partner, said, I think she's got Alzheimer's. And I was like, what makes you say that? Well, she's 17 years old and he lost his dad to Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's, you forget how to eat and drink. You forget how to do the action of drinking and swallowing. You don't lose your thirst and hunger. You just forget how to do it.
So the body still triggers that, not reflex, but that desire. But when you get there, you don't know what to do.
That messed with me, disturbed me. And my soul dog was, 14, 15 at the time. I was like, all right, time to get to work. So that's how I discovered nootropics, which also happened to be adaptogens. And I was like, okay. So that's where I formulated Clarity. And Clarity has lion's mane dual extracts, reishi, cordyceps dual extracts, bacopa monnieri, and ashwagandha. Lion's mane and bacopa monnieri have both been proven already in clinical research to regrow our telomeres. I don't know if you know what telomeres are.
Oh my God, one of the hallmarks of aging.
Exactly.
Tell them.
So telomeres are these structures that are inside the DNA of our cells. And every time our cell replicates, they shrink. And as they shrink,
like threads. They hang like threads from it.
They call them it's like the end of a shoelace, that little plastic thing at the end. So they start to shrink and then we start experiencing signs of aging. lion's mane and Bacopa monnieri extracts regrow our telomeres.
That's wild because
It's wild.
carbon 60 does that too in high enough doses. Yeah, I find, I mean, longevity is my jam.
And who's there again? Mother Nature.
Yes.
Like, how can you argue that there is a mushroom and a plant that I can take and it's going to help my body not age as fast and do it more naturally? Like,
Oh, yeah.
it blows my mind. So, and again, I'm also going, why isn't anybody making this? Why aren't they out there? And if I do find something, why can't I find it at a therapeutic dose, not in a harmful preservative, without anything else in it, grown in the right thing? So to me, it's very easy to do what I do because I do whatever Mother Nature requires. How much does it take? How do I have to grow it? What is its food? How much sunlight does it need? What conditions does it want to grow in? That's how we get real medicine, not in a lab. Not in the lab.
Okay. So following this thread with your formulation and stimulating regrowing telomeres, is there anything else from your research that pet parents should know that the formulation does in addition, like whether it's move out senescent cells or whatever it might be that are also hallmarks of aging, that pet parents can understand exactly what is taking place in the body with these adaptogens?
Oh, I wish I could explain what's happening, but it's literally because people don't even know, have never even heard of telomeres. You and I study longevity and aging and understand it. Other people don't know, so you have to describe it. But we've heard of killing or degenerating brain cells when these adaptogens regenerate brain cells. So what we were able to prove in the study is, first of all, we hired a retired conventional veterinarian who's now been doing research studies for pharmaceutical companies for the past 15 years. So that was also a really fun experiment because he literally met with us and went, you guys, it's probably not going to show you what you think it's going to do. That's not the purpose of research. Pharmaceuticals, especially in animals, only have to prove that the health of the animal doesn't change for the first 3 months. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Not that it works, not that it's effective, that it doesn't make the animal sicker. And then, of course, they always do the research on young animals that are healthy and don't have any issues. So once I found that out and then went and looked at all these other drugs, oh, yeah, sure enough, 3 months. Apoquil, for instance, canceled three-month trials before they tweaked it and got enough to get approval.
To get through the 3 months without the animal getting worse.
Librela, this blew my mind. Librela did 3 months, and the only thing that they tracked was through pet parent surveys.
Wow.
My research, we did pet parent surveys. We also did a collar that tracked their behavior because the biggest sign of early signs that your dog has dementia is waking up in the middle of the night. So getting up to get a drink or pee or wonder or what's happening, or I'm going to have a coughing or hacking or start licking, that's not normal. And that's probably one of the earliest signs that your dog is starting to have sundowners or experience dementia. They should be sleeping through the night like they always have. And so should you. So I remember being on stage at Dr. Judy's tour, and I would ask who has a senior dog, and keep your hand up if they're waking you up in the middle of the night. And they all stayed up. And I'm like, again, this is what everybody is experiencing. So we tracked with the collars so we could track and see now they're sleeping through the night. Now they're not wandering. They're not anxious. And we also tracked BDNF, which is brain-derived nootropic factor. And I'm going to forget, is it CRP blood indicator?
Yeah,
so
the reactive protein.
Exactly. So we did all, which is a sign, if we can reduce those, that it's working. We did all of those things. We did more than pharmaceutical companies do. And I'm a little company, and it was a lot of money and a lot of time. And we proved it. We had an 81% improvement. Of course, I I'm not allowed to say this on marketing or to sell my product, but we reverse dementia. And to me, there's nothing, this is so important, and this is why I did this, because there's nothing on the market for humans or for dogs that's helping. That there's a new drug coming out called Boyle this year that's going to call itself an anti-aging drug.
I heard of it.
You know how it works? It's the same actions as fasting.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to turn off the body's something, put it into autophagy, triggers autophagy. But of course, it's not natural how it's triggering it.
Yeah.
We can trigger it naturally by just not putting food in.
Oh, yeah, like the GLP-1.
Oh, is it that the same thing?
No, it's not the same thing, but it's creating something unnatural to create another
there's going to be a GLP-1 drug that's coming out
for dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to do
I'm not
everything.
Surprised. It's a cash
this is the
cow.
pharmaceuticals. They're the same company. Zoetis is owned by Pfizer. And a lot of times they'll develop drugs, which Librela was a drug they developed for humans, and it didn't work and was so awful. And now it's over here.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And that happens all the time.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I know.
Same thing with humans. There's 2 drugs on the market. Both the human and the animal drug both say that they're not intended to be given for more than a year time.
Okay, so that's a red flag right away.
That's a red flag. You don't expect them to live past a year.
And
same
who
thing
knows
with
what
Librela.
damage is going to be done after several months anyway.
This is the trend I'm seeing. It's that old dogs, pharmaceutical drugs go, let's create all these drugs, because then when they die, they can go, oh, but they had all these other issues. It wasn't the drug. It was all these other issues. And you and I are like, nope. If we can support aging and homeostasis,
absolutely,
then we do not have to suffer, and we do not have to depend on pills to keep us healthy.
So if you have one thing that pet parents should do to help support the health and vitality and longevity of their animals, what's the one thing? I know there's more than one, but the one that you would lean into for them.
A full spectrum hemp extract. I literally want to make a t-shirt that says every senior citizen, human or animal, should be on a full spectrum hemp extract. We literally have a master system in all of us, every animal, fish, lizards, birds. I've treated wildlife. I've done everything. I've watched it work. We all need it. It's Mother Nature's way of helping us continue helping our body's innate ability to heal itself. That's what it's doing. And also helping us with our anxiety and inflammation and pain at the same time. So it's the single most important.
At an all-time high in the world for people and pets. So tell listeners where people can find you.
You bet. I have a website, which is my name, AngelaArdolino.com. And that's where most of my protocols and education and everything about everything I do is. And my podcast is YourNaturalDog.com, where you can see all my podcasts that I've been doing, I think for almost 10 years now. No, 8 years. Wow.
Yeah.
And then my products are Myco Dog and CB Dog Health.
Perfect. And we'll have some links underneath the episode so people can find you as well. I so appreciate you being here today and sharing
such a fun conversation.
Thank you. So pet parents can be even better pet parents for their animals. Thank you, Angela.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. And this is the Pet Health Coach, looking at holistic, natural ways to heal, to create the most vibrant, longest lives possible for our animals. I'm Jody Teisch, and to their best health ever.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.